In a home where hearts sought comfort and the days followed a calm but sometimes lonely rhythm, lived Elias. A boy of 10 years of age, with an observant gaze and a soul older than his years, he found his favorite refuge on the windowsill. From above, he contemplated the world beyond the walls of the orphanage, the coming and going of people, the ballet of leaves in the trees, but above all, the constant and fascinating spectacle of birds in flight. For Elias, each bird was a silent reminder of a freedom he longed for. He imagined the sensation of the wind caressing his own invisible feathers, the vastness of the sky opening up beneath him, the carefreeness of soaring without chains or limitations. These moments of contemplation were precious escapes from a reality where at times he felt almost transparent, as if the vibrant joy of others could not fully reach him. In the silence of the night, before Morpheus took him to the realm of dreams, Elias often allowed himself to fantasize. In his night visions, he was no longer the quiet boy by the window, but a winged being cutting through the starry skies. The clouds became his toys, and the moon a gentle beacon on his lonely journey. These nocturnal flights filled him with an ephemeral joy, a whispered promise that perhaps one day the freedom he so longed for could become more than a mere fantasy. One day, while watching a group of swallows describe graceful circles in the sky, Elijah felt a light breeze caress his face. It was no ordinary breeze. It seemed to whisper secrets, to dance around him with an almost magical lightness. In that moment, for the first time, Elijah had the distinct sensation that he was not alone in his contemplation. An invisible presence, soft as the touch of a feather, seemed to share his fascination with flight. From that day on, something subtle began to change in Elijah's perception. In moments of stillness, especially when the wind was present, he had the impression of hearing delicate whispers, words that danced in the breeze like leaves in the wind. At first, he hesitated to believe it, attributing the experience to his fertile imagination. But the persistence of those murmurs, the feeling of a gentle presence around him, led him to a new way of listening, an opening to the inexplicable. The wind, in its silent conversations with Elias, did not manifest itself with a booming voice, but rather through sensations, the gentle swaying of branches, the rustling of leaves, the change in the air temperature. It was as if nature itself found a way to communicate with the lonely heart of the boy, and through these subtleties, Elias began to feel that he was no longer alone in his dreams of flying. One of the first lessons the wind taught him was about the strength that resides within. One autumn day, as they watched a hesitant leaf cling to a branch before being blown away by the wind whispered in his mind, "Do you see this leaf, Elias? It resists until the last moment, using all its small strength, so it is with you. Within you there is a resilience that perhaps you do not yet know." As time passed, Elias's conversations with the wind became a constant refuge. He learned about perseverance by watching the trees that bent under the fury of the storm, but remained rooted. He discovered the beauty of individuality in the myriad shapes and colors of the leaves, and he found solace in the knowledge that, just as the sun always returned after the darkest night, hope was a perennial force, even in the most trying moments. The wind taught him that flying was not just a matter of having wings, but of having the courage to take flight, to free oneself from the chains of fear and doubt. The news that a kite festival was being held at the orphanage spread like wildfire, filling the air with excitement and anticipation. Children ran and planned, eager to see their colorful projects take to the skies. Elias watched the general excitement with a mixture of desire and apprehension. The idea of creating something that could fly was extremely tempting, but the prospect of standing out, of having everyone's eyes on him, awakened his latent shyness. That night, As the silver moon bathed the room in a soft light, Elias shared his hesitation with the wind. Feeling the cool breeze coming through the window, he thought, "I wanted so much to participate, wind, but I'm afraid of failing, of looking ridiculous." The answer came in the form of a gentle whisper that seemed to dance between the curtains. "Elias, remember the little seed. It is not sure if it will grow into a strong tree, but it allows itself to sprout. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward in spite of it." Inspired by these words, Elias decided to take on the challenge. With simple materials found at the orphanage, pieces of cardboard, strong string, scraps of colored fabric, he began to build his kite. Each knot, each fold was made with care and concentration. In his mind, he visualized birds in flight, and with a worn pencil, he transferred these images to the surface of the kite, as if to imbue it with the very essence of freedom. On the day of the festival, the orphanage courtyard was transformed into a sea of colors and laughter. Kites of all shapes and sizes competed for space in the blue sky. Elias held the string of his modest kite with trembling hands, his heart pounding in his chest. He felt watched, judged, and shyness threatened to paralyze him. But then, a gentle breeze brushed his face, a comforting reminder of the invisible presence that had guided him there. With a deep sigh, Elias lifted the kite and ran a few steps, feeling the breeze capture his creation. Slowly, hesitantly at first, the kite began to gain altitude. Elias watched in wonder as his improvised masterpiece soared into the sky, dancing with the wind, responding to every movement of the string in his hands. It was as if a piece of his own dreams were finally taking flight. A genuine smile, radiant and pure, lit up Elias's face. For the first time in a long time, he felt truly seen, not by his shyness or insecurity, but by the beauty and grace of his kite, which now adorned the sky. The other children, who had initially focused on their own creations, began to notice Elias's kite, with its simple drawings of birds flying with unexpected elegance. In their eyes, Elias saw admiration and even a touch of inspiration. That day, as his kite traced designs across the sky, Elias felt something change within him. His shyness had not completely disappeared, but it no longer paralyzed him. He realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the ability to act in spite of it. And by sharing that moment of joy with others, he discovered a new form of connection, a bridge built through a dream that had taken flight. Over time, Elias became more open and confident. He began interacting with the other children, sharing his experience and encouraging them to pursue their own little dreams. Some began talking about their own feelings of hearing the wind, realizing that the inspiration and strength Elias had found was not unique to them, but rather a dormant potential within each of them. And so, in the orphanage courtyard, the sky became an even more vibrant place, not only because of the colorful kites dancing in the air, but because of the blossoming knowledge that, even without visible wings, everyone had the ability to soar their dreams, driven by the inner strength that, like a gentle wind, was always there, waiting to be heard. That day at the Kite Festival marked a subtle but profound turning point in Elias's journey. The joy of watching his creation take to the skies did not fade with the setting sun. It remained like a faint flame burning in his chest, radiating warmth and confidence beyond the fleeting moment. He realized that the admiration in the eyes of others was not judgment, but rather a silent recognition of something special he had shared. The conversations with the wind did not cease, but took on a new layer of meaning. Elijah no longer sought comfort or encouragement. He shared his small victories, his tentative attempts to connect with the other children, his progress in overcoming shyness. And the wind, in its gentle whispers, celebrated each step, each small flight of courage that Elijah took in his daily life. One afternoon, as he helped a younger boy design his own kite, Elijah felt the familiar breeze and heard the soft voice in his mind. "Do you see, Elijah? Your courage has not only lifted you up, but also inspired others to find their own." Those words resonated deeply in his heart, planting the seed of a new understanding that true freedom was not only about achieving one's own dreams, but also about helping others do the same. Over time, Elias became a more present and involved figure in the life of the orphanage. He was no longer the isolated boy by the window, but someone who offered a kind smile, a word of support, a helping hand. His own journey had taught him to recognize the beauty and potential in every individual, even those who, like him, once felt invisible. Kites continued to be a passion, a bond between the children. Elias volunteered to lead small kite-building workshops, sharing his knowledge and encouraging each child's creativity. The orphanage's courtyard became a vibrant stage of colors and shapes, a testament to collective imagination and shared joy. One afternoon, while watching several kites coloring the sky, Elias had a fleeting vision. For an instant, he seemed to see not only the kites, but also small, translucent wings sprouting from the backs of each child, lifting their dreams and hopes high. It was a fleeting image, perhaps a product of his fertile imagination, but one that touched his heart with a deep sense of connection. The years passed, and Elias grew up, carrying with him the lessons learned by the window and the whispers of the wind in his memory. He never forgot the feeling of freedom when he saw his kite fly for the first time, nor the warmth of admiration in the eyes of others. Those moments shaped him, teaching him the importance of perseverance, courage, and the ability to inspire. Even when he left the orphanage to make his own way in the world, Elias carried with him the lightness of hope and the conviction that even in the most challenging moments, the strength to overcome and achieve one's dreams resides within each of us, waiting to be discovered. And with every gentle breeze he felt on his face, he remembered that invisible friend who taught him to believe in his own wings. And so, Elijah's story becomes a reminder for each of us that just as he found the courage to fly his dreams with a simple kite, we can also find the inner strength to overcome our fears and fly towards our own skies. May we hear the gentle voice of the wind in our hearts, encouraging us to believe in our potential and to share the joy of our own flights. Thank you for following Elijah's inspiring journey. If you were moved by his story and believe in the power of dreams and hope, we invite you to subscribe to our channel for more stories like this. Leave a like if this story touched your heart, and share it with those who also need encouragement to fly their own flights. If you have any thoughts or feelings about Elijah's story, leave your comment below. Your interaction is very important to us.